Hello, hello, hello. I'm Shesh Doctor No Way here. I'm on the spiritual ranch. I am the off-grid oracle, and here I am. And so I just made a little video out in the garden. I was showing again that this whole time I've been out here. I've been pulling my hair out because of the deer, of course. And building fence, and or worried about building fence. And trying to protect from the ground level. And well, I went out and checked at some watermelon. The few plants I have left, I was hoping I'd get something from because the deer don't want to touch them. And of course, we got attacked from the sky, right? We got attacked from the air, And so these are the elements also that work against us. The same elements that we use that could be the same poison that could kill us, And so we got to be able to use our craft when we learn to become a high priestess and learn to work with the elements of earth, fire, water, and air, with the fifth element, which is spirit, And so when we walk that path with God and into the natural kingdom, we try to build something utilizing what is naturally available for us, so that we have a mastery of our craft. Those are the same obstacles that we have to overcome, and so you got to know how to use air to your advantage as a tool, as a wand, as something that's in your tool chest that you utilize to your advantage. But you have to be aware of the fact that the dark forces that are in the world around us, that surround our garden, can also utilize those same forces against us, And so that's the reason why we have to master our craft. And when we navigate our transit on Earth as naturally as we possibly can, utilizing the resources that we have available and as many of the natural resources as we have available. So when we try to do things as naturally as possible, that's when we really master our skills and hone our skills, utilizing what God gifts us with on the earthly transit, And so we step outside of the technocrat mindset, or the modernist mindset, or whatever, or the mindset of the alchemists. It's like that run the world, because there's covens of dark alchemists, that rule the world right now, and they've been doing dark craft because they try to eliminate spirit and eliminate the natural from our experience as a living being here, and how we manifest our abundance, and how we manage our abundance, And so that is what we're trying to teach out here on the spiritual ranch, And so these attacks that I've been receiving really opened the door up for me massively to get on here and to teach, and to teach how we do this stuff, because this is how we do this stuff, And the whole goal for me, being who I am and being called the way I've been called, is to teach the way that we could do these things that are outside of the matrix that's been set because of the use of money, because the alchemist wants to, that the dark alchemists that run the world today, they want to capture your energy and then manifest that into wealth and abundance that they measure in terms of money, and coin and whatnot, and then they put that in their coffers, and then from those coffers they can afford to invest in more control over you, over us, over God's people and over God's kingdom, and they want to do that unnaturally. They want to create a kingdom around us that's unnatural, so that powerful spirits like myself and like you, because if you're still with me in this video, then you're a powerful spirit who wants to learn about this stuff, right? They want to sever our connection with the Most High, and our connection with the Most High is the most set in stone with our relationship with nature and the world that surrounds us, And so that's how we use the same forces that they use for creation, to manifest a garden that represents their abundance. And that's what we're trying to do here. Whereas the alchemist wants you to take all of your energy. These dark alchemists out here, they want to take all your energy and want you stressed out about money, right? And then and chase it after the unnatural. That's why there's so much in our world today that is unnatural. They want you to not have to feel empowered by the wind, and or be know that you have to protect yourself from the force of air, because like they don't want you to understand what the force of air is even anyways. They want you just to consume something that they provide for you, that you provide money for, that you've sold bits of your soul off to get, you know. And so of course, like people like me, you know, practitioners like me, we are under attack right now fiercely. But what we do, see, I'm a light alchemist. I'm an alchemist of the light. And so what I do is I could take these attacks right here that would otherwise are you know, intended through the spiritual world, you know, they're intended to take me down, lower my vibration, you know. But the highest vibration that we have is teaching, is to teach, you know, is to be the teacher, to be the builder, to be the teacher, you know, and to be in the image of God Most High. And so what God Most High would do with this is that they would alchemize this right now and transmute it into a lesson, you know. And so this is the lesson that we're going to teach, right? As a farmer, rule number one, the farmer doesn't throw away nothing. And you always are going to look around. Even if it's a little scrappy ass, little rusted out piece of wire or something, you know, most likely odds are you hang on to it, you might end up using it, you know, and you might hang on to it for years and years and years and not really know why. Other people might even criticize you for it. And, but eventually when you do need it, it's going to be there and it's going to work for you, you know, and it's going to solve your problems. And it's going to be, that whatever it is that you've been hanging on to or hoarding or whatever, you know, that people maybe criticized you for, it might end up being a blessing, you know. And that's how blessings oftentimes work, you know. A lot of times you're doing something, you don't really know why you're doing it, you know, but you keep doing it, and then all of a sudden it makes sense, you know. And that's how God works. And that's where faith, you have to keep your faith, man, and know there's always going to be a solution to whatever problem that you have. And so, like right now, the ravens came in here, okay, so they found out that I got watermelons. That's going to happen. It's going to happen, guaranteed, you know. And so they, I'm getting attacked from the air, you know, so as I got some solutions coming to defend from the ground here as far as the deer go and everything, defend against the earth. But now I got to figure out, or I've had the opportunity to figure out how to solve my problem from the air. But in the process of doing so, God has also given me a solution, which I should have already thought of, but I wasn't thinking in that direction because I wasn't thinking in the direction with air. I wasn't thinking about using air in my solution here to try to solve the problem that I was having because of earth, you know, because the deer are earthbound. That's the earth energy. They're attacking me from earth, you know. And so I was thinking earthbound. Now the ravens came in, they took a couple little pecks out of my watermelons, and I started thinking skybound. And so I remembered I'm a hoarder. And I hoard things that are not usually, nobody would have wanted this stuff. They wouldn't know why the hell you got this, why you got it, where'd you get it? And I got it because it's probably dump bound or whatever, you know. But this is construction cloth. Construction cloth, if you've ever purchased construction cloth, you're going to know this stuff is very expensive. It's not cheap, you know. And I know that because I do agriculture and I do construction as well. And so, but I've had to purchase this stuff to try to keep moles. You know, usually what I was hoarding it for initially was, again, for an earthbound attack, because I was going to bury it in beds where I thought I was going to get gophers in and stuff, and they're going to eat my crops from below, you know. But what I just realized is that these right here are the perfect protection for the attack that I'm receiving from the ravens over on my watermelons, you know. And so I'm going to grab a bunch of these here right now. I'm going to grab me a handful of these, 5 or 10 of them, and I'm going to drag them over there to the watermelon patch, and then I'm going to show you what I'm doing here, why these are such an excellent solution for that initial problem. But then I'm going to also share with you where my awareness of air and having the ability to work with air has shed some light, you know, has got me thinking, right? It got me thinking, and that's what air does, you know. Air gets you thinking. That's them swords and the cards and the tarot, that's them swords, right? And so when we talk about intellect, we talk about thinking, we're talking about air, we're talking about swords, you know. And so them ravens got me thinking. That they activated my air. And then I'll show you what they taught me, how Spirit God taught me. And so give me a minute, I'll gather this stuff up and we'll meet you back over there. All right, I'm back. Had to go in, had to recharge my microphone here. It happens. Anyways, back out the watermelon patch here. And so where I was showing, see, I suffered some damage. See, the ravens came in here, started pecking on my watermelons, and of course they did, right? Watermelons are yummy. And so that's that attack from the air, though. That's not a ground attack, you know. Those weren't ground forces, those are air forces, right? And so like I was saying over here, by the shed, that got me thinking, you know, because like I was like, well, how do I protect my melons? And I remembered that I had this construction cloth over here. And so that whole pile of it, you know, and I was like, okay, that's great, you know. And so I can just go ahead and cover it. And you see the plants hold it up there just fine. And that's most definitely going to keep them deer, that'll keep those ravens out of my melons for sure, you know. They won't be able to get to them at all. But what I was talking about over by the shed is how when we combine our knowledge of how the forces work with us, air, fire, wind, water, and spirit, that's when we have enlightenment, and we have enlightened moments where we have, it dawns on us like a solution for other problems that we've been having. And that right there, that's a solution also for my ground attack. And if I keep these covered like that, they ate all my green fruit out of them, but they're still making some flowers, see? This tomato's still making tomatoes. See, there's little tomatoes here. If I cover these, I'll need a little bit bigger piece to get this whole one covered. But I'm just gonna cover all of this with those little screens, you know? I have a whole pile of those little screens. And so I can cover everything. And that's gonna buy me the time because I've been really stressing on this stuff because I've been hoping, these were really had a lot of tomatoes in them. And you can see the deer just coming in here laughing at me. And that's the thing I hate the most, is that I can just feel it too all night. They just wait till I go to sleep. And I get like a little bit of sleep and I hear them, they're right on top of me, you know, just chomping, you know, just destroying everything. But now, you know, they got one of my squashes over here, but this is good, you know. And so we're figuring out a little defense here to help me get over this little hurdle. And that's what we got to be doing, you know. That's why we always have to have full awareness of what it is that Spirit God's trying to teach us. You know, these things here are just absolutely gorgeous. I love these zucchinis, and they just thrived. Again, these I splashed some water on a tiny bit in the beginning, but they haven't had any water, you know. Like, there's so much moisture in this ground. I was digging in another spot down lower here yesterday, and there's so much moisture. This stuff's just thriving. These don't even wilt, you know, because when you dry farm stuff, a lot of times they'll wilt all the way down to nothing. You know, they look like they're gonna be dead, but then they spring back up at night and they start growing, you know. But even over here, see, I got these bigger pieces. I got lots of this stuff right here, you know. And so this will be my solution for because like they just started. See, I had tomatoes like this over there in that other patch. They were loaded, you know. And the same here, this other half, those deer coming in, they're eating all my green tomatoes, you know. And so, but now I'm gonna cover this right here, and they can't come in here, you know. I wake up, I mean, I'm sleeping right here, you know. It's like I can't believe, but I'll wake up, you know, I'll fall asleep for about an hour. I'll start, as soon as I start to sleep good, then I'll hear them, and then I wake up and they'll be right here. They jump away, you know, and try to run off. They're just trying to devastate me, trying to put me down, trying to shut me down, trying to get me in a state of emotional despair to where it's hard for me to see the point of continuing to try. It's like they want me to look at this bean patch like this right here and be like, I give up, you know. Like, why would I even try? Why would anybody try? That's why a lot of people give up on these earthbound missions like this. They give up on trying to use the natural resources and what God provides for us to our advantage, because it's become so difficult, you know. And that difficulty is from the mind control, because everybody just gives up now, you know. And so things like deer, you know, they're a monitoring spirit. And so there's been laws and regulations and behaviors that have been promoted with us that get us from not being out in the field and putting the pressure on the deer that we should be putting on them, because honestly, they're vermin, and they carry disease, and they just devastate everything, you know. Like the forest out here this year, it's just devastated. I haven't really seen it so devastated, and that's why they're really so heavy in my garden right now. But the whole forest looks like it's just been grazed on by a whole herd of cattle, you know. I mean, it's really, 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 the deer are so thick this year, and they carry ticks, they carry fleas, they carry disease. They're getting a disease. They get this wasting disease and mange and all kinds of nasty stuff, you know. And so they shouldn't be as abundant as they are. But we're not doing our job. We're not working with that element as human beings anymore, because we're all caught up into the unnatural. You know, we're buying our meat frozen out of the store, and like buying stuff that you don't even recognize as meat, or eating stuff that comes from like the other side of the world and everything, so that these politicians can get in and fuck with our heads, playing all these games with tariffs and all this bullshit, making you think you're going to starve. And really, in reality, there's no way that you would starve. Look at what these deer have done in my garden. How many deer do you think that is that's around me? That's several hundred. You know, that's all the protein that a lot of people would need for a while, and then that would keep them out of your garden. Look how well my garden thrives right here. If I just get the deer out of my garden, which that could be solved by eating them, then we have plenty of vegetables for the table, you know. And so that's what we're trying to teach out here. This is alchemy. You know, this is how you do alchemy. This is how an alchemist uses the elements, all the elements that are available. That's earth, wind, fire, air, and water. And then they have that fifth element. They understand with spirit. They work with spirit to be the glue that ties that all together, you know. And since we're the glue, since spirit is the glue, we don't try to use a whole lot from the outside, you know. And if we do, we be resourceful about it, because it's about doing this without money, like I said in the very beginning of this video. You know, I didn't buy this hardware cloth. I salvaged it, you know. And so if you're walking with God and you're walking in the spirit of God, you're going to know when to salvage what and when to hold on to it. You're going to do that, and then it's going to serve a purpose for you. And that's going to teach you that what you're doing, your skills as an alchemist, are being honed, because you're going to recognize that. And then you're going to see solutions when solutions are offered to you, you know. And then you're going to be able to equate that all into the energies and how they work. Like I was saying, ravens are swords, right? Swords are thoughts. And the tarot, that's the energy of it. And that's the energy of this conversation, because this is brainstorming. This is how you do this. And this is like this is when you're building with Legos. It's like one clicks into the next and clicks into the next, you know. And that's when Spirit God is working through you, and they're speaking to your heart, and they're using your soul to teach, to be an alchemist, you know. And so an alchemist takes the negative energies and transmutes those into a higher energy, into a higher light. And that's what we've done right here with this attack in the garden. And we're going to continue to do that with this attack on the garden. That's why the attack happened, was to open up that platform for the conversation to be had. And so we're going to have it. And I appreciate you all for being here to have that conversation, because that really tells me that you're the kind of individual who wants to learn about these things, you know. And that's what we need more of, because that's going to be the problem solving. That's going to problem solve us out of the circumstances that we've gotten ourselves into by trying to separate ourselves from the natural kingdom, you know. And that's a beautiful thing. Thank you for doing that. Like even down here, you know, the moisture, these tomatoes are still trying to grow like as if it was spring still, you know. I just got to get the deer off of them. But like and a lot of the traditionally dry farm tomatoes and stuff, they're just wilted. Like even at this time, a little bit of sun on them, they'll wilt. They shut down during the day, you know. And then they because they reserve their water and everything for making fruit, you know. And so, but like with these would be, I mean, these tomatoes right now would be waist high on me. They would be absolutely gorgeous. When they first really got chomped hard. Hey, wait a minute. That's some of them Mexican tomato seed, I think. Must got bad seed. Yeah, it happens. But you can see right here, like I was talking, like this ground right here, it's still got so much moisture in it. You know, it's wet, like that dark soil, that's wet soil, you know. If I dug down there a little bit more, it's just gonna be wetter and wetter, you know. So you can see how dark that is, see how wet that is, you know, opposed to this like top here. You know, and so that's what it's all about for me, because I didn't even know if I could farm this stuff out here this year, you know. And so I could cry about these losses, but I need to celebrate in the growth I'm getting. Because like even here, I didn't manure this. And I gave this a splash of water. I gave these a splash of water to get them to germinate, you know. And again, this has been ate on. See, the deer have eaten these. They seem to like the cantaloupes or whatever, you know. And so this would be even much fuller if the deer weren't eating the tops out of them, you know. And so once I get the deer out, even these, I feel it's mid-August, you know. We might be surprised. Even these tomatoes down in here, they might bounce back and actually put some fruit on, you know. We'll see. I just got to really focus on getting that fence in. right now. You know, I got that hardware wire, and so that's a real rescue for me right now, because hopefully I could cover some stuff up and still manage to get some stuff just to get it on the table, just to keep my face out there. And then I just got to be focused right now on building infrastructure, getting this fence in, and getting a greenhouse built. I need to build a decent greenhouse too. And so yeah, we're not experiencing losses, family. We're experiencing wins here, you know. And so this is not a death, this is a rebirth, you know. And so we're gonna transmute this energy. We're the alchemists, you know. We're the children of the light who had the alchemy in the first place, because Spirit God taught us that. And then we were so kind in our hearts, we wanted to share that with everybody. We never believed that they would use the this stuff for an ill intent. You know, we figured it would just make things more abundant and prosperous for everybody that's around us. You know, we weren't trying to manipulate God's kingdom as a disrespect or an insult against God. We learned that we could coax it along and make it more powerful and make it a more beautiful thing for God, so that God could see themselves even more in that by our action, by watching it through us. And we tried to share that with the wrong people eons and eons and eons ago, you know, and like we've paid our dues for that. And so now it's time that we take that power back. And that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing on this channel. And there's other people out here that are doing the same thing. And as we learn, we teach, you know. And then as we teach, we learn. And that's what we're doing here, you know. So like when the student's ready, so will be the teacher. And when the teacher's ready, so shall be the student. That's what I believe, you know. And so cool. This is us out here. This is me. This is you, you know. This is what we're doing. And I know that you, if you're watching this video, you're on the same calling I am. And what I've said makes sense. And you could follow me bouncing around and being bumbly, just stumbling around my garden and everything. And it's going to make sense to you. And you're going to use this to empower yourself and to empower us as the 144,000 chosen ones who know how to live within the garden, you know. And so when that flaming sword gets set down, we're allowed entry. We know how to behave, and we're not going to misbehave again, because we don't want to lose our place in the garden no more ever again, you know. And so I love you. My prayers are with you. We want to thank Father God for everything that they've done here today, everything that they've tried to channel, and for everything that they've provided us that is a lesson. We're not going to see those lessons as strife. We're going to see those lessons as empowerment, and we're going to be a community as a whole, you know. And so that's what we're trying to do here. We're building tribe, folks. Let's do this thing. Love y'all.